Welcome to our Nairobi to Samburu guide. We are Where Next family and we create content based around travel and adventure as a family around Kenya. In today's video, we're going to compile 7 episodes of a road trip we did a while back into one amazing guide. The entire trip was done in a 4x4 roof-tented vehicle that was kindly sponsored to us by Sunworld Safaris. We camped for almost the entire trip, except towards the end where we spent 2 nights in one of Kenya's most beautiful camps with roaming elephants right outside your tent. So stay tuned and without further ado, let's get into it. First on our list was Garandari Forest, but along the way we wanted to stop at one of Kenya's most popular restaurants called Trout. Trout is built in and around a huge sacred fig tree. The restaurant serves fresh trout from the ponds below, char grilled to perfection. Next stop along the way to Nanyuki, we stopped at the equator point for a photo with the sign and to of course partake in the water experiment. We're in the northern hemisphere, the water goes clockwise, and when you're in the southern hemisphere, the water goes anti-clockwise. It's a fun stop along the way, and you can even get a cute certificate for 1,500 shillings. From here we went onwards and finally to Garandari Forest, where we heard you could bathe in beautiful blue pools and go for stunning hikes. However, the weather had different plans for us, and since we heard there was heavy rains the next day, we didn't want to have the risk of being stuck in the forest. So we decided to turn back, but when we tried to turn around, we couldn't. The mud made the car tires practically useless and it took us the next 60 minutes to get out. So on that note, we have 0 footage from the actual Blue Lagoon at the forest and we're planning to come again in the future. Onwards we go to our camping spot for the night. Our next stop was Lamanaya Farm, which kind of blew us away. The place has animals you can interact with, and if you're like me, why not give milking a cow a go? We used our car tents for the night, but they also have actual tents that can accommodate up to 8 persons or more upon request. It has a kitchen, a beautiful platform by the river for some epic nature sounds, and even a zip line plus a mini playground for the kids. The next morning we met our Maasai friend Sam, who agreed to take us to his village and his family home for a true Maasai living experience. We camped our 4x4s next to their homes and proceeded to learn about their traditions, and of course no Maasai visit is ever complete without a little dance. That is not our forte for sure. We exchanged some traditions with Adam drinking goat blood and the elderly in the family drinking some of our coffee for the first time. We think they liked it. That night we camped in our 4x4s right next to Sam's home and woke up to the most beautiful Laikipia sunrise. You can find Sam's number below. Next up is Ol Pejeta Conservancy, where we camped the night. The Ol Pejeta Conservancy is a non-for-profit wildlife conservancy in central Kenya's Laikipia County. The conservancy hosts the largest black rhino sanctuary in East Africa, which in 2013 reached a population milestone of 100 black rhinos. It also houses the 2 remaining northern white rhinos in the world and the sweetest blind rhino, Baraka, which you can get to feed and touch. The Sweetwater's Chimpanzee Sanctuary is situated here, which provides a haven for orphaned, abandoned and rescued chimpanzees, and if you decide to camp for the night, you will have an amazing experience. From Ol Pejeta we moved onwards towards Samburu and decided to stop along the way at a camp we found online. Originally they told us that we could tent there with our vehicle, but once we arrived it was very obvious that there wasn't any space for our trucks. So when we inquired about room rates, we realized that the killer cottage view came at a cost of only 7,000 shillings for the 3 of us, which also included breakfast. So if you're heading north and need a quick stop to rest, Lions Cave is the right spot for you. In the morning we left Lions Cave to quickly check out Shaba National Reserve. We heard it was absolutely scenic, and based off the images we've seen online, we were in for a treat. While there wasn't much wildlife in the reserve, we spent the entire time amazed at the landscape. The Shabba Reserve has dramatic scenery including riverside forests, scattered woodlands and dry grasslands dominated by Shaba Hill volcano. What a beautiful place. Next stop was Elephant Bedroom, one of Kenya's most famous camps with roaming elephants right outside your tent. Elephant Bedroom is located inside Samburu National Reserve, and we honestly had the most incredible experience at the camp and roaming the reserve. From large families of elephants and 30+ towers of giraffes to the endangered gravy zebras and leopards, Samburu is a great place to visit for wildlife. On the way out of Sambora National Reserve, we stopped for a quick visit to a Sambora village to immerse ourselves in the traditional Sambora way of living. After a short walk around their homes, a traditional Sambora dance and fire making, we hit the road once again towards Mount Ololokwe for our final night on the road. On our last night of our road trip adventure, we decided to camp at the foot of Mount Ololokwe in Sabache Camp. Sabache Camp has spots for camping as well as tents, so there's always an option for everyone. This was a beautiful and blissful last night together in Samburu. What an incredible road trip this has been. The next morning we decided to do one last activity in the area and continued north until we reached Namina Conservancy in Reteti Elephant Sanctuary. The sanctuary takes in orphaned and abandoned elephant calves with an aim to release them back into the wild herds adjoining Reteti. Elephant calves in northern Kenya are orphaned or abandoned due to drought, man-made wells, human-wildlife conflict and natural mortality. The sanctuary was established in response to demands from the local community. This was honestly the highlight of our trip, and what a way to end this long 8-day adventure. As our trip was coming to an end, we wanted to make one final stop for some lunch and to stretch off our feet at Stop Nanyuki. We heard they had good food, a playground and shops, and this of course ticked all of our boxes. The food was fantastic and Adam's burger really did taste as good as the video looks. We highly recommend you stopping here. And this is it for our 8-day road trip adventure. If you've missed our previous episodes, you can find the playlist in the corner of this video. Add us to your binge watch nights and let's continue to explore Kenya together.